it to be erect first because if you start out with the KUB, your room isn't fully set up. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. All right, so if I choose to start with this, I can't set everything up and then have my patient lay down because this would bump her head. So if you choose to start with the KUB, this has to be all the way down. You have to let your patient lay down and then get this set up.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a little easier. Again, we would shield her. I'm not going to shield her because I haven't wiped this down. Center for this one at the iliac crest because we want to include the bladder. So what am I doing first? I am marrying before I do anything. I haven't even touched her yet. So now that I know that I'm married and detented, I don't touch my tube at all. Now I'm going to float the table wherever I need to go. So it doesn't matter where I float her, I am married and detented for this entire exam. Okay, so don't set this up like this. Decide you want to move and then move this because you are going to forget to move this. And then look what happens. You're going to constantly be adjusting that. All right, so I'm going to feel here for her ACEs, which is right here. And then we're going to kind of come around here to her iliac crest. Same thing here, mid-sagittal plane. You can either look at the head or the foot of the table to make sure you're lined up here, mid-sagittal. You can mark either here or here, so left or right, whichever one, or you can mark here, the left marker, up to you completely. For positioning, we're gonna have her bend her knees just a little. This is gonna flatten out the pelvis so that it's nice and flat on the table. If you don't bend the knees, the pelvis could be shifted, so just a little makes it a little easier here. All right, breathing instructions. Deep breath in, let all your air out. Stop breathing, expose. So that is one way to do it. There's one more. You can breathe. If you have a larger patient, and you need to do 2 landscape images, I'm going to just show you on her. She is portrait them. So drop your knees for me. So if you have a larger patient, your light would look something like this. You would have a lot of darkness over here, so no shadow. So you want to switch this. So we're going to change it here to landscape. Center is the same for the first one, so at the iliac crest. Same marker placement, so left or right here, and same breathing instructions. So deep breath in, let all your air out, stop breathing, expose. Number 1. So now I'm going to change this out, changing out my IR. Oh, I didn't flip it, I'm sorry guys. Should technically do this one. Second image, we're going to leave her, so don't let her move. You're going to use your hand here as your tool. So I'm going to put it right here. I know that I've imaged everything from here down. So I'm just going to move the table. You want some overlap here. So you want about 1.5 to 2 inches of overlap here. You don't want it to look like this because you may flip anatomy. So we want it to look more like that. All right? Kevin, I did this on.
Yeah.
He's definitely 2 landscapes. He didn't get to see this.
No.
All right, so marking for this one, since we're interested in the
And
kidneys.
this is for a big patient or a long torso patient?
Yes, hypersthenic body habitus. For this one, you want to mark up. We want to make sure we get the kidneys. So since this is her breast area, I would probably put the marker here if I was doing a woman. I wouldn't put it on her boob. If it was a guy, I would mark up.
Or you just drop it on her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, so left or right, whichever. Same breathing instructions. Deep breath in, let all your air out, stop breathing, expose. And I'm going to show you guys how to do one double check on your KUB. We're going to go back to portrait here. Just for clinicals. You know that you have to have the most inferior portion of the bladder for the KUB, which is the pubic symphysis. So on the x-ray, the very bottom of the pelvis that looks like this on an x-ray. You guys know what it looks like?
Yeah.
It kind of barely touches like that. If you don't see that in your image, you have not gotten the entire bladder, so you have to re-expose. So since we don't palpate that, because that is the person's crotch, we are not going to palpate that. Something we can do is feel for the greater trochanter. So this is at the same level. So on yourself, bless you, if you feel kind of posterior here on your butt, almost, where your femur meets your hip, that's your greater trochanter. So you should be able to feel your greater trochanter. I'm going to move your leg and I'll let you feel. So drop this leg down, bend this knee for me. Yes, and I'm just going to feel here. So move your leg for me. Okay, good. So hers is high, right there. So if I was to center here, her iliac crest was right here. So if I was to center here, drop this leg down for me. This is her greater trochanter. If this is out of the field of view, you do not have a pubic symphysis. So that's a double check if you want to clinically. If you don't have the pubic symphysis, you have to repeat the KEB because that is the most inferior portion of the bladder. So that's your